Hello, and welcome to our August webinar. Today, we will be focusing on the updates to the standards of practice and professionalism. We will spend some time going over this resource, and we'll chat about its purpose and review the updates to this document for this current fiscal year. The standards of practice and professionalism serve as the program manual for state-approved training. Trainers can expect to find information about policies and procedures that guide the implementation of the program. A revised version is released every July, and revisions often include new policies and clarifications based on frequently asked questions in unique situations that have come up during the previous year. The standards of practice and professionalism is organized into several sections. You can see them listed on your screen. They include becoming a state-approved trainer, guidance for new trainers, delivering state-approved training, monitoring training quality, and state-approved trainer renewal. This resource is really valuable to training program administrators who may be guiding a trainer applicant through the process, as well as for trainers who are just starting out. And there are also, this document is also intended to be a one-stop shop for trainer questions, and we encourage all of you to go there first before reaching out to the trainer inbox. In the beginning of this document, there is a section that lists the revisions that were made for the current fiscal year and the new sections that have been added. On this slide, you see that the black text that goes over some of the smaller updates that were made for this year. For example, we added additional resources to the guiding framework section, and we updated the section on the trainer standards to reflect the revisions that were made last fiscal year. And we also updated the section on data entry review. And you can check out the July webinar to learn more about that process. And we also added some more information to the trainer renewal section. So I'll spend the next couple of slides going over the grayed out bullets on this slide. The professional development team has received many questions about how we assign competencies and levels to new trainers, or how we update the assignments for trainers who have been in the field for some time. We created a table that provides a little bit of structure to our decision-making so that we can have consistency in our approval decisions over time and across different staff members. Please know that there's some flexibility within the structure. Sometimes we have applicants with significant professional experience and facilitation experience, but not necessarily the education background. So we may consider them for higher level of approval than the education alone would allow. And these types of decisions are made on a case-by-case basis by the professional development team. The chart that you're looking at right now is for specialist trainers and subject matter experts like nurses or occupational therapists who are looking to provide training. Keep in mind that specialist trainer is just a trainer. We don't have advanced intermediate trainers in our system anymore. So anyone who's applying is either applying to be a specialist trainer, a K-12 trainer, or a higher education trainer. And if you're a trainer who's interested in having your competency or approval level reevaluated, please reach out to training@dcyf.wa.gov and let us know that you're interested in another review. Because of the way that merit is designed, we will ask you to resubmit the trainer application with evidence to demonstrate why you believe you're eligible for higher approval levels. And we'll take that into consideration. So we'll take into consideration additional education, training, or work-related experience that you have had since your initial application in those competency areas. We'll also send you your original application that's on file to make the application process faster for you the second time around. So we've also made changes to the trainer sanctions section. Trainer sanctions are very rare. This slide lists possible situations that would prompt us to take action. And some of those include trainers who are not meeting the standards of practice and professionalism, folks who've plagiarized content that was developed by other trainers, engaging in fraudulent activity, being disqualified from providing childcare if you're a childcare provider, violating WAC related to primary role, or being convicted of crimes related to people or billing practices, will raise trainer sanctions. And some of those trainer sanctions, they're determined on a case-by-case basis, and they may include one or more of the following. So You may be required to develop a professional growth plan and have an additional follow-up observation upon completion. Or you might have to go through a goal-oriented mentorship from an assigned state-approved trainer with an additional follow-up observation. You might be placed on provisional status until you can demonstrate changes in your practice, or your trainer status might be temporarily or permanently revoked. If a trainer is disqualified from providing childcare or has their license revoked or denied, that trainer will not be allowed to be a state-approved trainer. And in addition, if it's found that the trainer is participating in any misleading marketing, fraudulent, or illegal activity, the immediate removal of the trainer status may apply. This fiscal year, we have moved away from the written submission alternative. This was a temporary situation for us while trainers adjusted to online learning environments due to COVID-19 pandemic. And this alternative was really challenging for us. We found that the written submission did not give us a true sense of a trainer's strengths and abilities. And our goal is to make sure that every trainer that joins our program meets our expectation. And there really is no better way of gauging that than watching a trainer in action. So we'll still have some flexibility for the observation, and you can learn more about that in the preparing for the observation section of the Standards of Practice and Professionalism. But for this fiscal year and moving forward until stated otherwise, written submission is no longer part of the application process. There are also a number of new sections in this document for this fiscal year. Again, and many of these were instated as a response to situations that arose or questions that arose from you, the trainer, or a training partner. So some of the changes for the fiscal year include having a new provisional acceptance process, offering more guidance to newly approved independent trainers, offering guidance on the use of DCYF logo, training completion certificates, and electronic training evaluations. There's also a couple new things around professional development plans for trainer growth. There's a new plagiarism policy, as well as an appeal process for the next trainer renewal cycle. And we'll go into some of this in more detail. We are really very excited to say that we have a provisional acceptance process. And this is an opportunity for new trainers who are coming into our system, and they might have an opportunity, if they choose to participate, this is voluntary, to receive provisional acceptance, which means that these trainers will be able to participate in a 6-month program offered by the Imagine Institute that will provide a range of learning opportunities. And these include training modules, communities of practice, independent study, as well as coaching. Provisionally approved trainers will partner with the trainer mentors. They'll learn about the trainer standards and receive individualized feedback that will support them with the final training observation. Now, this really exists because we know that there are many independent trainers that are joining our system who are not affiliated with training organizations, who need additional support and guidance in order to become really contributing members to the learning communities in their area. So this was a solution that we are piloting this year with the Imagine Institute. It's currently only available for trainer applicants, and in the future, we might consider it for current existing trainers who are not meeting expectations. You can learn more about this provisional acceptance in the Standards of Practice and Professionalism resource. We also have guidance on some logistical guidance for trainers. We would love for state-approved trainers to only use the DCYF logo if they are using training that was created and distributed by DCYF. We are going to strongly discourage trainers from using the DCYF logo on their own training curricula. We want the logo to appear on content that was developed and sanctioned and approved by DCYF. So folks who are using the DCYF logo on their own trainings are asked to remove that from their trainings. We also want state-approved trainers to provide a certificate for all training completions to all participants. And those certificates must include training title, date of training, length of training, the core competency that were addressed and how much time was spent in each area, and the participant's name, trainer's name, STARS ID number, and the signature. Maybe the trainer is associated with a training organization, and if that's the case, we would love to see the organization listed there as well. Now, we don't provide templates for completion certificates. Trainers must create their own certificates, and we really need this information on training certificates so that we can verify training completions if there are roster participant entry errors. Sometimes we have people emailing us, participants emailing us and saying that they had not received credit for a training that they were involved in. And it's very hard for us to verify if they actually completed a training or not, if they do not have a training completion certificate. State-approved trainers are also responsible for distributing and collecting training evaluation forms from all participants after each completed state-approved training session. These evaluations do not need to be confidential. However, the participants may choose not to put their names on the form. State-approved trainers are required to keep the evaluations for their records, and they must submit them to DCYF upon request. We're asking trainers who deliver online to create electronic survey forms that have similar questions to the English version. And you can use SurveyMonkey to create a training evaluation, but just remember to share your link with all of your participants before the end of the training. You can find all of the details around these 3 points in the standards of practice and professionalism if you would like to go back and review the information that I just shared with you. If the DCYF team becomes aware of instances of plagiarism, we'll implement training sanctions. And plagiarism by us is defined as using another trainer's or training organization's learning content without proper citation, not citing resources or sources that you used for the basis of your content, using the same words without quotation marks, or borrowing all or part of another trainer's content to make your own training. So if you notice or want to report instances of plagiarism or suspected misuse of training content, please reach out to the training inbox for a trainer or training complaint or concern form, And once you have completed and submitted this form, DCYF will be able to follow up and address your concerns. Another new process that we have put in place is an appeal process for trainer renewal. This year, we had a handful of trainers who are not able to complete the trainer renewal survey due to COVID-19 related absences from work. And in response to these situations and other extenuating circumstances, we have created a grace period during which trainers can ask us to reevaluate the renewal decision. If you have any questions about the content that we shared with you today, please go to the professional development page on the DCYF website and look under the state-approved training site, and you can find the standards of practice and professionalism and a lot of the documents and forms that were referenced today on that site. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for the September webinar on the trainer standards.